Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tech Tuesday, presented by Out of the Box. And welcome to today's webinar on QuickBooks Payroll, helping small to medium-sized businesses scale with workforce solutions. Thanks so much for joining us. And this webinar presented by Out of the Box in partnership with Intuit. Today's presenter is John Brakey Campos, Senior Payroll Partner Development Program Coordinator. John has been a part of the Intuit family for more than 14 years, working in various roles. John is passionate about working directly with clients to understand their payroll and workforce management needs so he can understand your unique pain points and recommend the best overall solution for your business. As for me, my name is Jeanette Schwartz-Rattan. I'm Director of Marketing here at Out of the Box, and I'll be your moderator for the day. Just a few housekeeping items before we get started. This session is being recorded, so you don't have to take all the notes. This recording will be shared on our YouTube page and our website and emailed out to you after the fact, so you can dig in real time. This presentation will only take about half of the hour today, so we'll have plenty of times for Q&A. But if there's anything that arises during the presentation that you'd like to dig a little deeper on, feel free to chat your questions to us in the Q&A box, and we'll try to answer those in real time. A little bit about Out of the Box if you haven't joined us before or it's been a while. Here our mission is to empower entrepreneurs with the QuickBooks-based financial tools, services, and insights they need to thrive. Out of the Box is the premier choice for QuickBooks accounting services, boasting over 30 years of experience and a track record of exceeding the expectations of over 50,000 satisfied clients. Our comprehensive accounting solutions save you time and money while providing you with financial accuracy, security, and insights necessary to grow your business. As an elite QuickBooks solution provider, we are able to offer you exclusive discounts and pricing, so please be sure to connect with us before purchasing your QuickBooks solutions. And with that, I believe I have covered all of my housekeeping items, and I can pass it off to John. John, take it away.
Great introduction. Thank you very much, Jeanette. Let me go ahead and share my screen if I may. All right, let me share my presentation. Jeanette, you want to give me a thumbs up? Can you see my screen? Okay.
Yep, you're all good.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Well, thanks for that great introduction. Always good to come chat with the Out of the Box team around payroll and workforce solutions. Hi, everybody. My name is John Brakey Campos. Obviously, you saw the introduction from Jeanette earlier. I'm a senior payroll partner development manager here at Intuit. I also partner with Out of the Box. I serve as their main contact for anything payroll related here at Intuit. And today's presentation is going to be focused on how QuickBooks Online Payroll can help small to mid-sized businesses grow with workforce solutions. As Jeanette mentioned, you can ask questions through chat. There will be a live chat, but we're also going to have a live Q&A at the very end. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So here's today's agenda, which is solely focused on QuickBooks Online Payroll and workforce solutions. We're going to be covering the basics of QuickBooks Online Payroll and a high level of each flavor, just so you have an idea of what that kind of looks like. How QuickBooks Online Payroll can grow with your business. The areas that QuickBooks Online Payroll can help automate for you. We're going to discuss time tracking in QuickBooks Online Payroll, the power of integration, having everything all in one place, how QuickBooks Online Payroll helps from a compliance standpoint. We'll also dig into the different reports that can be generated for payroll. We're going to touch on pricing for payroll. But just as Jeanette had actually mentioned, if you guys are looking at payroll, QuickBooks Online, et cetera, please make sure that you work directly with Out of the Box, as they do have special pricing that they're able to pass on to their clients. And lastly, we'll also include some support resources that are available to our QuickBooks Online Payroll customers. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started and cover the basics. So QuickBooks Online Payroll comes in 3 different flavors. You have Core, Premium, and Elite Payroll. They're all full service to a certain extent, which basically means Intuit is going to file and pay your payroll tax liability on your behalf, federal and state agencies. With our Core Payroll, It is an entry-level automated payroll. It's a self-serve and DIY setup. I generally state that Core is more suitable for experienced users that know what they're doing and can handle setup on their own. They understand the importance of getting everything set up properly from the get-go. Once everything's said and done, Intuit is going to file and pay based on the information provided. However, it's only we're not vetting or validating any of the work. So I always tell clients that tend to go this route, make sure you double and triple check your work for accuracy, dot your own I's and cross your own T's. Okay. Moving on to premium payroll. This is our most popular plan. It's still a self-serve setup, but does include an expert review. This is where after you as the user are going in and have done the actual entire setup of payroll, we are then going to go in, you can opt in for this expert review where somebody on our end, an expert, a team of experts, are going to review and validate your information for accuracy. Dot your own I's and cross your own T's for accuracy, okay? Premium payroll also starts getting into HR, where you have access to an HR support and resource center, along with a time management solution, presuming you may have hourly employees or potentially salaried employees that you need to keep track of their time for billable purposes. Moving on to Elite. Elite is our complete full service payroll solution. What really separates Elite from Core and Premium is that it provides one-to-one expert setup and guidance. Note that this is the only level of payroll that actually provides this level of service, okay? In addition to that, you actually have access to live HR advisors, okay, where you can actually either call or chat with individuals. And you also have the same time management solution that's in Premium, however, with some greater functionality such as geofencing. And one thing to note is that on all three levels of payroll, there are optional add-ons that are available that can be actually added. And we're going to cover those on the next slide. So QuickBooks Online Payroll can grow with your business. We know that employee benefits are crucial to attract and retain top talent and remain competitive in today's environment, right? A lot of prospects, employees, they're not just looking at obviously pay, they're also looking at benefits, right? And benefits that matter to employees. One thing through QuickBooks Online Payroll, you as a business owner have the peace of mind that you can add benefits at your own pace, okay? From 401k to medical, vision, and or dental insurance. We make it really easy to simply click to get a customized quote or speak to a licensed agent. This means you're in product, you're getting things set up for payroll. If you're wanting to offer benefits from the get-go or potentially set up a 401k plan, you're going to be able to do that in product, whether it's you at your own pace going through and clicking through to actually get a quote, or you can actually speak to an experienced individual, both on the 401k side of things, along with on the health benefit side of things, okay? As your business evolves, we have HR resources to provide guidance around compliance and the ever-changing payroll landscape, right? Whether it's in your own state or growing and evolving into other states, which is very common nowadays in this hybrid remote work environment that we find ourselves in. And we know that time management needs can change, right? Whether you're a growing workforce, you have remote employees, right? Those needs can potentially change, and we'll be here for you guys, obviously. And lastly, it's nice to know that you can add these benefits around 401k and health benefits at your own pace, whether it's from the very start of your business, right? Or potentially as you start growing. So now let's discuss some areas around payroll that can actually be automated, okay? So for starters, we can help automate tedious payroll tasks such as timely tax payments and filings along with year-end reporting to include W-2s. So Intuit's really going to do the heavy lifting here, right? At the end of the day, you can focus on what matters most. And we're going to go ahead and make sure that as long as you run your payroll timely, Intuit promises to file and pay your payroll tax liability in a timely manner. At year end, we're going to make sure that we generate the year-end W-2s, and we'll handle all the year-end reporting that goes with that as well. We have the ability to automate the actual process of running payroll for certain employees. So let's say you have salaried employees or employees with default hours where they work the same hours every week. You can actually go ahead and set that payroll to be automatically run so that at the end of the day, you don't have to go in and run the payroll yourselves. Okay. We can also automate new hire reporting, which is a requirement in every given state. When you hire a new employee, you have within 20, every state can be a little different, right? But you have generally within 20 days to report that new hire to the state. We will do that at all levels of payroll, okay? Health benefits and worker comp premiums can also be automatically paid through payroll when using Intuit preferred partners, along with the 401k automation. All this to actually say there are many areas within payroll that can be automated to make things easier, allow you to focus on what matters most, and not have to be tied down to payroll, right? I hear this from a lot of small to mid-sized business owners, right? That's the last thing they basically want to do is have to worry about, oh, did my 941 get paid on time? Did the state payment actually make it through? The state unemployment insurance? All those items are going to be taken care of. And again, the main focus on your end is, hey, let me make sure that I run payroll, I get my employees paid, and Intuit's really going to focus on doing all the other heavy lifting for me that I don't really have to worry about from that standpoint. That can potentially get me in trouble if it's not done in a timely manner. Let's talk integration. This is what really separates us from our competition. And the reason for that is because there's complete integration between accounting and payroll. Where I'm doing my accounting, I'm also doing my payroll tasks, right? I have the ability to customize my accounting preference mappings so I can get more detailed reporting. Maybe I'm in construction and I want my P&L to be a certain way and much more detailed, right? I can actually have that information, ensure I can go ahead and have wage and tax expenses done a certain way to go ahead and highlight that within the P&L. And there's no need to offset payroll with a journal entry since everything is in one place, right? Let's say, for example, I'm using QuickBooks Online, but I may be using a third-party payroll provider, right? How is that information getting back into QuickBooks? Potentially, it is either a journal entry or you're paying somebody to get that information in, right? Here, there's no reason to do that. Everything's going to be in one place. And again, you can customize things to your liking, no double entry of data. And at the end of the day, there's one source of truth. So one thing about payroll is that QuickBooks Online Payroll actually gives employers the ability to have their employee self-onboard during the initial setup, making onboarding easier. So as you hire your employees, the good old-fashioned way of doing things, you had an admin that would actually collect the W-4s and whatnot and get all that information in, get the pay rate set up, direct deposit and everything else, right? That can still be done if preferable. However, you also have the ability to automate this aspect of things, right? Where I can go in as the admin, and if I'm setting up my employees, I just need to add their first, last name, email address. It's going to send my employees an invitation where they're going to have the ability to enter their own pay details. They can indicate, or forgive me, their own personal details, right? They'll also have the ability to enter how they want to get paid, whether it's one bank account or maybe I want to split this into 2 different bank accounts. They can enter their own tax setup information through Form W-4. Once everything is actually set up, new hire forms and other important documents can be shared with your employees. This in turn is going to give you the ability to have important new hire docs stored and digitized within QuickBooks Online Payroll, centralized in one place for easy access. So after everything's basically set up and done, I, as the actual employer, within the employee profile, have a folder where I can actually store these important documents, right? So I'll have the employer record for easy accessibility. Let's say, for example, Form W-4, that's going to be digitized as soon as my employee finishes their setup. In addition to the W-4, let's say I create an employee handbook, right? Or any other important new hire document, direct deposit authorization form, et cetera. All those documents I can upload as the employer into the employee's profile within QuickBooks Online, so it's all centralized. And then I can provide with my employee with access to that information. So now both an employer and an employee record of these important sensitive documents actually exist. And this all to say, of course, that you as the employer have everything centralized in one place for easy access. So with QuickBooks Online Payroll, employees actually have access to an easy-to-use mobile app called Workforce, okay? In the prior slide, we talked about employee self-service. That employee self-service, when the employees get that invitation, they are actually then able to go ahead and install this workforce app as well, and they'll log in with those same credentials. What this basically does is it enables your employees to view and download their own pay stubs. They also have the ability to receive their digital copies of their W-2s at year end. So instead of waiting, paper mail, right, where come January, early February, we're always getting the questions of where's my employees' W-2s and whatnot, right? The advantage of employees going in using this workforce app is they have the ability to request a digital copy of their W-2. It's going to be available quicker to them, okay? And it'll be available right through that workforce app. Every time you as an employer run payroll, your employees will get notified that payroll was run and that their pay stubs are available. This empowers the employee. Let's say they're doing some sort of a refi. Well, would be doing a refi around this time, right? With the high interest rates. They are coming down though. But in this particular case, if they are doing some sort of a refi, it empowers the employee to be able to go easily right in their app, and they can view and download these pay stubs themselves. They don't have to actually go out and ask their admin to send them a copy of the most recent pay stubs, okay? Employees also have the ability to easily view and request time off. I, as an employee, can view my time off balances, right? So let's say I want to request some time off. First thing I do is I go on my mobile phone, go into the app, and it's going to show me my balances. John, do you even have the time to actually request off, right? And then once that request gets put in, it goes through the administrator that then goes in on the back end and either approves, denies the request, right? Time tracking users, if you have hourly employees or, again, salaried employees that have to keep track of time for billable or job costing purposes, can clock in and out and track time, whether it be to a specific customer, a project, and they can make their time billable if needed as well. So now let's talk time tracking. We talked obviously about the employees view. This is really going to be more on the employer side of things. We know that as an employer, payroll is one of your greatest expenses, right? If you have employees. Time tracking is critical if you have hourly employees or need to keep track of time for billable job costing purposes. Both premium and elite payroll include embedded time tracking. We talked about that earlier. Obviously, elite is going to include geofencing, which think of if I'm a construction company and let's say I'm going out and about, I've got multiple projects going on. What geofencing allows me to do is create a boundary within each of my projects so that when employees get within a certain distance of that boundary or that project, they can get a push notification to their phone to remind them to clock in, whether it to be the specific project or whatnot, and allocate that time accordingly, okay? You also have the ability to create schedules for your employees. Let's say you're new to time tracking, right? Maybe you've been doing things old school and you want to create a schedule that reminds your employees to clock in and out, to flex that muscle initially, right? To ensure that they're able to actually start tracking that time. You also have the ability to enable GPS tracking for your mobile remote workforce, right? So again, this hybrid workforce we find ourselves in, if you have employees that are in different particular states, basically you can enable GPS tracking, or you have mobile employees, right, where they're going to specific projects, doing specific routes. The moment they actually clock in, that breadcrumb trail will begin, and you'll be able to see basically where they're at, right? Maybe you dispatch, or you've got employees on routes or whatnot, and you may have an emergency, right? You want to see, hey, where's the closest individual employee to that specific emergency that I have that I can actually dispatch that individual, right? So there's definitely power in that. And as an employer, as I mentioned, you have the ability to view, edit, and approve time off for your employees. All of this can be done within QuickBooks Online Payroll. And again, specifically the time tracking is built into our premium and our elite payroll offerings. So let's talk compliance. We know that payroll is an ever-changing landscape, right? I've been doing this for a while. I've talked to a lot of small to mid-sized businesses, and boy, if things changed. If it's not, state mandated retirement plans, it's family pay, sick leave, things of that nature that have come out, state mandates. So I really wanted to highlight where we can really help from a compliance standpoint. Right. So we can basically provide timely payroll tax payments and filings along with year-end reporting. We talked about that earlier, right? Focus on what matters most to you. Let Intuit do the heavy lifting. We can help small to mid-sized businesses set up policies and procedures by providing guidance on setting up employee handbooks. That's something that's built into premium and elite payroll. Alert notifications, and this is huge, around labor law changes, whether you're at the state or federal level. to remain compliant. So let's say something actually changes in my own state. Intuit already has where my employees work and live out of. I'll get notifications randomly for over email or whatnot. That's going to basically alert me, hey, John, this recently changed. Here's some guidance around what's changed, and here's what you need to do to pivot to remain compliant. Really huge right now, very important. And again, these are built into Premium and our Elite Payroll, okay? So you'll always at all times make sure that, hey, I received these alerts, and I'll know if anything changes, and I know what I need to do to go ahead and remain compliant, because Intuit's educated me in that regard. You're Intuit's partner for HR, right? We've also discussed that you can store all electronic paperwork within QuickBooks Online Payroll, right, as mentioned earlier. So from a compliance standpoint, an audit or something comes up, heaven forbid, I know where all of my important new hire documents are because I've got them stored securely in each employee's profile, right? And then maintain accurate time records, right? In the event of an audit from the Department of Labor. Premium and Elite time tracking. I've got that built in. My hourly employees, they're clocking in, they're clocking out, and I can pull that up at any given time, and I know exactly where things are at, and I've got them all time-stamped as well, right? So that's really where we can help from a compliance standpoint. Really important, especially, again, nowadays in this ever-changing landscape. And talking about reporting, there are a lot of reports, and any maybe potential or existing QBO users, you know that there's a lot of different reports that you can run from within QuickBooks Online. Today, we're really going to focus on a few of the most common from a payroll standpoint, okay? Know that you have the ability to run, download, and easily share these reports with your trusted advisor. And here are a few examples of the types of reports you can generate around payroll. You've got your payroll deductions and contributions report, payroll tax liability, right, to see kind of what I owe, payroll tax and wage summary, time activities, right, whether it be by customer, by employee, et cetera, vacation and sick leave, and workers' compensations reports. These are just to name a few, probably the most common in this case, but there are a ton of different reports, and we continue adding as well. So let's talk pricing again. As Jeanette mentioned earlier, always recommend if you guys are interested in payroll or QuickBooks Online, definitely reach back out to Out of the Box. They're a trusted advisor. We've been working with them for a long time, and they've got special pricing that they can pass on. But the really big takeaways that I want to kind of go over with you is that this is list price, doesn't include any special pricing, okay? We do offer very competitive pricing. Our pricing is very transparent. You can easily find that online, right? Our payroll is priced per month versus per payroll, regardless of pay runs, okay? Let me be very clear. We don't charge per pay run. We charge per month, regardless of how many times you actually run payroll. The time management and the HR that we discussed earlier is already included in the price of Premium and Elite Payroll, okay? We do not charge extra at quarter and or year end for W-2s either. So we're going to take care of your filings, your 941s, anything due at the state level, every quarter, state unemployment, and that's all included in this price, right? W-2s don't cost extra at year end either. So very transparent, easy to understand pricing. There's a base price, and then there's a per active employee charge per month. And here's just a list of our benefit partners with direct links to obtain more information around these additional offerings. You know, I mentioned 401k, mentioned health benefits. I threw out HR services, a little bit about workers' comp. What you see here underlined are actual hyperlinks. I will make sure that this deck is shared out with you guys. I'm going to make sure Jeanette has it, and she will then go ahead and send it out along with the actual recording. And if you want more information around any of our partners for 401k, health benefits, HR, workers' comp, you'll be able to find that information. And then, of course, you know, get back to Out of the Box or whatnot with any other specific questions. And we also wanted to include some support resources so that you kind of know what to expect around payroll and workforce solutions. First, you know, once you become a payroll customer, of course, how you can contact payroll support. You have options for either phone or chat support that are available. As a reminder, with Premium Payroll, during the initial setup of payroll, we can provide an expert review to dot your I's and cross your T's for accuracy, right? And then an HR support center, support and resource center is available to you guys, right? To keep you on top of any changes to labor laws, et cetera. So you'll basically have support from that standpoint as well, from an HR standpoint. Elite Payroll, as a reminder, provides expert setup. It's the only level of payroll that actually provides that. We also give you direct access to live HR advisors, right? Maybe you're going into a new state And obviously there's some laws that you're not aware of, right? You're expanding into a different territory, or maybe you've got a complex situation on your hand, right? From an HR standpoint, and you want some advice. That's where you can leverage our expertise, right? Through, of course, our partners over at Mineral HR. And then lastly, we've built a centralized knowledge-based resource site with Intuit help articles around payroll, time, how to set up videos. That's included here. So you'll definitely have access to that as well. But with that all being said, I'm going to go ahead and pause here. And any questions, Jeanette, that have come
Yeah,
through?
we've got a few. So you mentioned your QuickBooks preferred partners for benefits. What if you're using another provider? Does that change reporting, pricing? And this person also asked, what does your network of preferred providers look like? I know you shared a little bit of information on that. Can you kind of expand? Is it just the one for each service?
Totally. Totally. Very, very good question, whoever asked that. So really good question. For the actual automation, so at present day, present moment, if you want to have everything automated from a health benefit standpoint, right? From a 401k standpoint, meaning that, hey, everything happens within payroll, and then on the back end, the money movement takes place and whatever else, that only happens with our preferred partners in today's state, okay? So anything else, let's say, for example, I'm using health benefits, but I'm using, Aflac or whatnot, right? That would mean that you can set things up to be deducted from the paycheck, right? But Intuit is not going to make that movement of money, okay? So in this particular case, for now, if clients do want that automation around health benefits or 401k or workers' comp, it actually does have to be through our partners. One thing I will mention is that for workers' comp, we work with Next Insurance, and this applies to both workers' comp and I believe also the health benefit through Allstate Health Solutions, is that as a broker, they may be able, if let's say Next Insurance works with the existing provider that the client has for workers' comp, we may have the ability to bring that policy in and simply change the broker of record. Okay. But normally what I recommend at that point is as you're going through payroll setup, you have the ability to get quotes to kind of see what we have to provide in that area. Even if you're already using something, I say, look, see what we have to offer. You lose nothing, right? You have the ability to compare and see, hey, how does this compare to what I'm paying right now, right? Because if we can automate these things, that's going to save me time right there, right? Now I know obviously, some clients may already have some existing relationships with providers. We definitely don't want to break those relationships, right? At the end of the day, but if the automation is important, I want everything in one place, I'm doing a lot of this manual work on the back end, then of course this is where they can actually look at our partners. You mentioned one last thing, which was pricing and does it change? Remember that 401k and health benefits, those are all add-ons. The base price that I included on payroll, that doesn't really include these add-ons, right? So if you're not using them, you're not going to basically be charged for them in that regard.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great question.
Somebody's asking would this be available in a cloud version, online web version? So QuickBooks Payroll is already an online.
Great, great
Correct.
question. Great question. Yes, we are talking about online. So this is all on the cloud. We're talking about QuickBooks Online, right? Which is basically hosted on Intuit servers. The payroll is built into QuickBooks Online. So yes, everything is completely on the cloud. All these, the forms and everything that get digitized, they're basically stored on on the cloud on Intuit servers.
Great, thanks for the clarification.
Yeah.
Another question, does geofencing also send notification when staff exit the boundary, reminding them to clock out, or will it automatically clock them out once they've been out of the boundary for a certain amount of time?
It's a great question. That's a really good question. It won't clock them out automatically, but it will send them a push notification, letting them know, hey, you're outside of that boundary. Go ahead and, clock out, but it won't do it automatically.
Great. Next question. Do any of the options allow for time allocation? For example, for staff who work on multiple projects and need to charge or track their time according to the number of hours they spend per project?
Oh, that's a really good question. Totally. Yeah. So basically that's where you're going to be able to tag your time to either a customer, a project, right? So at that point, I can go ahead and either make my time billable if needed. And if that employee either clocks in, or maybe you have an admin on the back end that basically just allocates that time accordingly to the project or the customer. But yeah, that's the whole power of the integration and whatnot. And yes, they'll definitely be able to go ahead and do that.
Great. Lauren's asking, what about payroll for 1099 contractors?
Great question. So 1099s, obviously they're independent contractors, right? So we don't do any withholding of payroll taxes or anything else. I'm not sure if the question is, so QuickBooks Online on its own at certain levels allows small to mid-sized businesses to keep track of payments to 1099s, right? That's just part of QuickBooks Online at certain versions, okay? So if I'm a small to mid-sized business and I have 1099 individuals, let's say I'm just cutting a paper check to them. Within their profile, I indicate that, hey, this person's a 1099. I need to track their payments so that at the end of the year, I can generate Form 1099 for that individual, right? Now, the play with payroll and 1099s would be if that small to mid-sized business wants to pay their 1099 contractors. Let's say they've got W-2 employees, but they also have 1099 contractors, and they want to pay these individuals via direct deposit, the 1099s. That's where payroll comes into play, because through payroll, they can pay these individuals, not meaning through payroll, but as a 1099, they'll be able to pay them, and they'll be able to pay them via direct deposit. Okay. So again, just to recap really quick, the 1099, if the only time payroll comes into play, or that service would come into play for your 1099s, is if you wanted to pay them via direct deposit. That service would allow you to make that money movement and pay your vendors via direct deposit. And then at year end, the payroll service will actually allow you to e-file those 1099s at no extra cost. Okay. So those two things would actually happen as part of the payroll service for 1099 specifically. Really good question.
Excellent. Patricia's asking, can the Workforce app be used on the mobile app? Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. So Workforce, so not sure if she mentions like mobile app like QuickBooks Online, but there is specifically the Workforce app, which is a mobile app, and it's specifically for employees, right? So that Workforce app, I can download it on my phone. I actually have it on my phone. It's an app that I can download from the App Store, app marketplace, right? And then as long as I have an Intuit ID, right? Whether I went through self-onboarding and I created that Intuit ID, and now I have that Workforce app, I can use that same Intuit ID to log into the Workforce app. And then if my employer, if I'm a time tracking employee, I'll have the ability to clock in and clock out through that Workforce app. I'll have the ability to go ahead and request time off through that Workforce app. I can look at my W-2s at year end through that. And then, of course, I have access to my pay stubs, right? My pay, my year-to-date pay, my pay details, et cetera. All that information is built into my Workforce app. And if I have a schedule, if I'm on a schedule, that'll show me my schedule as well. Okay.
Great, thank you. Crane's asking, can payroll be added to Desktop Enterprise?
That is a great question. So yes, these payroll offerings can be sold as a complete standalone. Now, I didn't mention that, right? We're talking QuickBooks Online with QuickBooks Online Payroll, but if there's a need where, hey, I use QuickBooks Enterprise, right? And if you're not doing any sort of job costing, right, where you actually really need a truly integrated solution, but you like what payroll has to offer online with the HR and stuff, which is not really in desktop, then you can sign up out of the box for a standalone payroll solution that can integrate back to QuickBooks Desktop. Okay. Now, when I say integrate, I'm not talking about deep. I'm talking about basically where, hey, I'm going to be able to go ahead and connect the two, and it's going to basically every time I run payroll, I'm going to send over an IIF file, an Exchange file that's then going to go into QuickBooks Desktop, and it's going to update, right? Instead of me having to do a journal entry, it's going to update my liability accounts, right? My tax and wage expense accounts, because I have that kind of mapped to a certain extent. And it'll bring all that information in so that I don't have to actually create any sort of a journal entry, okay? But again, if job costing is needed, I always advocate for, hey, integrated solution is best, but there are instances where clients are like, hey, I use QuickBooks Desktop. I can't go to QuickBooks Online for XY reason, right? But I like online payroll. Then yeah, you certainly have the ability to do that, and you can go ahead and set it up if you want to. I know it was a long answer, but I wanted to make sure I addressed it a certain way.
Excellent, thanks.
Bet.
Lauren's asking, can you pay the contractors when you run payroll with direct deposit through QuickBooks Online Payroll? Also, is it the same price as the per employee price, or are there additional fees?
Great question. Great question. So two things. So when you go into payroll, there's payroll, you're going to have two different tabs. There's going to be one for employees and one for contractors, okay? So technically your W-2s, you're paying them, you're doing a pay run for them. And then right after that, you can go ahead and jump into the contractor side of things and make a contractor payment at that same time, okay? So that's basically how that's going to work there. It's not like it's at the very same time, can I actually run both? But yes, I can run payroll first and then go ahead and pay my contractors or vice versa. On the flip side, as far as, and this is a really good question too, the per employee fees. So remember we talked about for employees, if they're active, they're billable. It's not per employee paid, it's per employee that's showing as active. So if they're active, they're billable, right? Either on the core, the premium, or the elite charge. For contractors, the way they become billable is two things. They have to be active and their direct deposit toggle has to be on. If those two things are met, that means they're billable, okay? So they're going to be billable based on the version of payroll that they're on. So let's say they're using premium payroll, then that would mean that every contractor that I have that is active on direct deposit and is an active contractor, I'm going to be billed the $9 per that active contractor per month, regardless of how many times I pay that contractor.
Got it. Okay, great. And one last question for you. This is a follow-up to the question regarding time allocation. Would this be available in both the premium and elite versions?
Yes.
Great.
Certainly will. Easy question. Really good questions, though. Are there any other specific questions?
It looks like that's all we've got in the queue for now.
Awesome. Awesome.
I've thrown up our contact information on the screen for you guys. If you have any additional questions that pop up after you log off, feel free to reach out to hello@outoftheboxtechnology.com and we will make sure to get those questions answered. I want to thank you all for your time. John, thank you so much for going into such great detail about the payroll options.
Thanks for having me, Jeanette. And
Absolutely. It's always a
thanks for
pleasure.
everybody that joined. It's always good to come in and crash the party and talk payroll. So thank you again.
For sure.
All right.
We're happy to also provide you with a payroll demo. So again, feel free to reach out to us by way of the contact info on your screen, and we can get you started with a test drive. Thanks again for everybody that attended. As a reminder, this recording and the slides will be shared with you later this afternoon. And oh, we got one more question in here. You got
Bring it. Bring it.
Is this software good for accountants that have clients on payroll?
Is this software good for accountants that have clients on payroll? Well, I guess that depends on what the accountant is trying to say, whether the accountant is doing their payroll tax payments and filings. I mean, I would say that we have a lot of accountants right now that are, let's say they're on desktop, they are moving clients to QuickBooks Online and payroll. The advantage in what a lot of these accounting firms are doing is they're obviously allowing the automation, right? A lot of these maybe accountants that had clients on desktop where they were using a specific version of payroll that allowed them to run payroll for multiple entities, right? So now what's going on is I'm seeing a lot of those accounting firms, they're not wanting to stay in the business of actually being tied down to payroll, right? And having to pay payroll taxes and file quarterlies on behalf of clients. They're letting the automation do its thing. So in that particular case, if that accountant, if, the question is, hey, if they're open to let, Intuit kind of file and pay on their behalf, yes, this is a great solution. If you've got maybe S Corp, owner, officer run type of businesses, right? I mean, there's auto payroll that you can set up, set it and forget it, right? Put them on a basic version, and we basically take care of filing and paying their payroll tax liability. So it really just depends. I would definitely have that accountant, potentially reach out to Out of the Box and whatnot for a little bit more info, and maybe we can connect outside of this in this case, because I always want to know a little bit more about the backstory and kind of how we can potentially help in that regard.
Right. Excellent. Rebecca, if that didn't cover your question, again, feel free to reach out. We're happy to chat a little bit more offline.
For sure.
All right. Well, thanks again, everybody. Thank you, John. That looks like it was our last question. So we're going to go ahead and close it out for today. Again, the lines of communication are always open, so feel free to reach out if you have any other questions.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye.